Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Monday, May 11th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith still away as he's back in Chicago. He'll be back later in the week and back with us as she's been with us now on Mondays the last few times in the playoffs. It's Rachel Kryshak. Check out Betalytics, that great platform that she is part of. Rachel, what's going on? How are you? Things okay?
Yeah, things are good. It seems like they're moving and shaking with teams that are no longer playing. They're finally starting to sort out front offices and meetings with coaches and who's getting traded and who's not. So there's a lot happening right now. Everything's a little wild, I would say.
Everything's a little wild in a certain place called Montreal, Quebec right now, too. After what we saw last night, obviously the Buffalo Sabres, Montreal Canadiens, and this is now pretty much, I would say, 6 periods of hockey that have been dominated by the Montreal Canadiens going back to the start of Game 2. You know, Buffalo took Game 1. Marty St. Louis made some solid adjustments. We saw, I think, Montreal get used to just Buffalo's level of play. We talked about the rush game was certainly more evident from Buffalo in Game 1 compared to the Tampa Bay series. And then, of course, in Game 2, it was a bounce-back effort, certainly at the defensive end, certainly for Jakub Dobeš, who was outstanding in Game 2. And then they carried that right over into Game 3. And Buffalo's got to figure some things out in their own end. They're not communicating well enough. The coverage breakdowns have been egregious. Obviously, their penalty kill is starting to struggle. The Montreal power play is starting to figure some things out. My gosh, what an assist and set up by Lane Hutson to finally get Cole Caulfield on the scoreboard with his first goal of the playoffs. I mean, my goodness, I think with the spot that Caulfield got the puck from Hutson, I think it's definitely at least a possibility that even Ian Cameron could have put that one in the empty net. That is how good that assist was by Lane Hutson. The building, too, in Montreal was absolutely spectacular last night. It's just chills down your spine seeing the intro. It was Kirk Muller that had the opportunity to carry the torch in last night prior to that game. And even though Buffalo got the quick start from Tage Thompson collecting that bounce off the backboards, to make it 1-0. I thought right after that goal, Montreal turned it on, carried the play eventually, and Alex Newhook's turning into your unsung hero of the playoffs right now for the Montreal Canadiens. What a run it's been for him. We cashed with him as a bargain bin special. We are smoking with the bargain bin special on this show. 2-0 sweep Saturday, 2-0 sweep yesterday. Alex Newhook, I couldn't believe it was plus 475, really, for Alex Newhook to score a goal with obviously the chemistry he's found. The offensive ability that he has unlocked here in the last few games of these playoffs. And really what's been surprising, too, is Montreal's actually kind of manhandled Buffalo physically. They have really taken a bit of maybe the Tampa Bay series kind of warmed them up to the idea of we know we got skill. We know we've got mobility from the back end. We know we can make it happen offensively. But if we want to be rugged and physical, we can be that way. And Montreal showed that in Game 2 last night. And I think the Tampa series got it. And Buffalo hasn't matched them in that regard. You got a lot of shenanigans late in the game, too. We saw the Josh Norris punch was not nearly as bad as Ridley Gregg in the first round against Carolina, but still a little greasy for Josh Norris to be doing that. And, of course, Arbor Jackeye just cold-cocked Sam Carrick right at the buzzer there at the end of the game as the tempers certainly flared up. But, Rachel, this has been a complete control by the Montreal Canadiens of this series. They've taken complete control. They've basically won 6 straight periods, and now it's back to the drawing board, Rachel, for the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things here. One, Montreal's top line at even strength is still generating absolutely nothing. So I think if you're Buffalo, you have to take a huge positive from that as you've continued basically through, from the Tampa series onward, you've been able to shut them down. And theoretically speaking, if you can shut that down and have a moderately acceptable penalty kill, you should be able to win these games. If you're a Betalytics subscriber, then you cashed plus 900 last night because we called Tage Thompson first goal scorer. So that was something that we were all over and something we loved. So if you're not in Betalytics. Highly recommend you get in there. We got stuff pumping out every day. Sports.
Didn't it feel like he might have done something after he was just so ridiculed after game 2? He turned the puck over a million times. Multiple turnovers of his led to Montreal goals in game 2. He was asked after the game, "Are you injured?" And he had that snippy response, "It's none of your business." It just had all the elements of now everyone's just completely fallen off the Tage Thompson bandwagon. Watch him maybe step up and do something. And sure enough, first goal last night.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I don't think it's as bad as people would like to think it is. When I wrote the Fatal Flaws article for ESPN in terms of like what would be each team's demise, I said that Buffalo was kind of a house of cards. And if their goaltending did not continue to be at Vezina level, that they were going to be in trouble. Well, lo and behold, the last 2 games, their goaltending has not been at Vezina level. And Jakub Dobeš very much has been the better goalie in the last 2 games. And they lost those 2 games. And when you're playing from behind, the Sabres do not play a style that is conducive to playing from behind. They need to play ahead so that they continue to run you over and not necessarily worry as much about the mistakes. But the 2-on-1 goal, I can't remember off the top of it was in the 3rd period. It was a bad pinch because Buffalo was down. If Buffalo's not down, that pinch doesn't happen. And that 2-on-1 rush that then turned into a 3-on-2, that doesn't happen. And so the way that Buffalo plays, they have to take unnecessary risk if they're down, and you never want to be in that spot. But their goaltending hasn't been as good, and Jakub Dobeš has been absolutely fantastic for Montreal. And so I think when you look at that, you have to account for the fact that we kind of saw some of this coming. Like, nobody thought Buffalo was the best team in the Atlantic for the season. Like, yes, were they very good for a majority of the season? They were. But at the beginning of the year, there were probably 4 teams that you would have said they're better than the Sabres going away. That would have been Florida, injury riddled. Tampa, you could make the argument. Toronto, you would have said they're better than Buffalo heading into this season. And all 3 teams out before the Sabres. But also, like, the Sabres have luck's been on their side. And I think we're starting to see Montreal, who's also been a very lucky team, they're getting a little bit more lucky in terms of some of the saves they're getting. Like, Jakub Dobeš is saving pucks with his skate blade, right? Alex Lyon could very much do the same thing, but it's just not happening. And sometimes that happens for you. Neither one of these teams, though, look like a team that's prepared for the freight train that is the Carolina Hurricanes. So I think at this point, they're going to beat the crap out of each other. And then Carolina is going to have 12 days worth of rest. They might lose game 1 just because of the rest factor. But outside of that, if you look at how Carolina is set up to not only defend, but also to create offense, I mean, Jakub Dobeš's save percentage is going to have to be .980 for them to beat the Carolina Hurricanes.
Well, they're both, they're certainly both teams, Buffalo and Montreal. They give up more high danger looks than Carolina. I don't think that takes a genius to figure that one out.
Hot take.
But you're saying based on what you're seeing, and I think the eye test and me watching the games also says this, in this series, Buffalo's been giving up the more egregious chances to Montreal.
Yes, they have. And I think part of that is because they've been playing from behind, and their style would dictate that they trade chances when they're playing from behind. And that's fine when you're getting Vezina level goaltending. It is very not fine when you're not. So I think that's where we're going to have issues. And Montreal is doing a fantastic job of getting to the middle of the ice. Like, when they're coming in on those rush chances, they're making a concerted effort to get to the puck to the middle of the ice. And when you do that, you open up different options for crisscrossing, you open up options for screens, you open up different options for rebounds, for dragging the goalie out of position. So they're just doing a really good job of getting the Sabres kind of discombobulated and getting Alex Lyon to move. I wouldn't be surprised if they went to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
I think that's happening, personally.
Yeah, I think it kind of needs to, in the same way that I think it needed to in Colorado. We're talking about 2 teams that have played tandem all year. There's no reason to not play a tandem when it worked for you all year. Yeah, one guy's hot. Well, he's no longer hot, so switch it up. And I think that that's probably where they're going to go to. It's still an unbelievable series. I will say this. the Josh Norris punch is nowhere near, not even in the same category as what Ridley Gregg did. Like, I'm not even remotely willing to listen to that argument. And Ridley Gregg got 2 games. Well, we know that 2 games in the second round is the equivalent of a fine in the regular season. Well, if Ridley Gregg got 2 games regular season, Josh Norris is getting nothing but a fine. So, I mean, I don't know what you want to do with that there. I did not love the Arbor Jackeye punch, but the same thing. Like, at least Carrick was somewhat engaged. Was he going to fight him? No, probably not. But I think you have to be, if you're in there with Arbor Jackeye, you have to know he's a little greasy and he's going to do stuff like that. Like, you're not in a scrum with William Nylander, right? Like, you have to be prepared for who you're in a scrum with and like maybe pay attention. So I don't think either of those guys are going to see any discipline. I'd be really surprised.
I mean, that just happens. I mean, plus, you got to prepare to defend yourself, I think, a little better there if you're Sam Carrick. I must say, yeah, I agree with that. But like I said, there was a lot of shenanigans going on. You expect that. I at least like that Buffalo was trying to mix it up and not go, quietly into the night in Game 3 last night compared to Game 2, where you're seeing Josh Anderson literally punking Jordan Greenway, and he's just standing there. That was not the best of looks there. Like, especially in your home building when you're losing Game 2 like that, to go down quietly like that. This is not on Alex Lyon, but now after a game where he's been, and it wasn't all his fault, but he finally got, I guess, quote unquote, shelled a little bit when you give up that many goals. I think Lindy's going to turn to Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in Game 4. Tomorrow night, just to try to change things up. But the goalie change is not what's mattering here. What matters for Buffalo is they've got to figure out a way to have better starts. They've got to figure out a way to, improve the penalty kill. And they need to start having games where, and I love them, Zach Benson and Josh Doan. They got to start having games where those 2 players are not their best players. Okay, they need more from. And Thompson did score last night, but where's Tuck? Where's Zucker?
Yeah.
What's going on with those?
Oh my God,
guys?
Zucker is borderline unplayable at this point. Yeah. Like, I mean, you looking at like Anaheim scratching Mason McTavish, and I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? But at the same time, it's like Jason Zucker's he's been worse than Mason McTavish has ever been for the Ducks, and there are no issues just jettisoning Mason McTavish to the press box. I'm kind of sitting here going, like, maybe let's get Consta Helenius in there. Like, it's something,
and
anything.
Logan Stanley, I love his physicality, but that was a bad night for him last night. And I know Sabre fans, they're calling for that Zach Metsa kid to get into the lineup and replace Logan.
I think that's
Stanley.
A little aggressive. I think that's a little aggressive.
I mean, I didn't know Zach Metsa was the next coming of Scott Niedermayer or something on the blue line, but I know it's like, whoa. But you're right, it was a rough night for everybody for the most part. Again, for the Buffalo Sabres last night. So how they bounce back from here is going to be, and I'll say it. He's played with Benson and Doan, but Josh Norris hasn't been great, and he's been with
He's been awful. He's been awful.
I'm being kind. I think the best thing, the most noticeable thing he's done was that punch he landed, at the end of Game 3 last night in the third period. But yeah, this is now Montreal taking control of the. I know it's still only 2-1, but if you watch these 2 games, that's a team that's taking control of the series with the way the game flow has been. Montreal. It's going to be up to Buffalo to change it. The late game, we had Vegas. They got it done. Anaheim, rather, I should say. They got it done. Best bet, Alex's best bet as well. And by the way, shout out to Alex's mom, Rose Smith. My goodness. She gave out a Mother's Day bargain bin special because it was Mother's Day yesterday, and she gave out Kirby Dach, Montreal, plus 550. Incredible. Well done. And
way to go, Alex's mom.
She hit it last year too, Rachel. She gave a bargain bin specials pick for Mother's Day last year in 2025 when we did the Mother's Day show, and she hit that one too. I mean, it was just a
beauty.
I think she's sharper than either of us, quite honestly, but or sharper than me and Alex, I mean. So, like I said, just great stuff from Alex's mom with the Kirby Dach call. And Alex lost his, but he could have had his because Philip Deneau did score there, but they called it. Obviously, goalie interference there on Alex Lyon decided not to, but it was a great day. We had another bargain bin in this game. We kept riding the wave that is Brett Howden for the Vegas Golden Knights. He cashed again a goal prop for us, so 2-0 with the bargain bin. We had Anaheim best bet. It was just a collective, very good effort. And the difference at Rachel was, I don't think they were particularly special or dominant over Vegas at even strength, but the power play, it had to get going. Everybody knew it. they had to finally make the power play work, and Anaheim finally got the power play clicking last night. And a Vegas penalty kill that had allowed just one power play goal the entire playoffs going into last night gave up multiple Anaheim power play goals, and that's really the difference in last night's 4-3 win for the Anaheim Ducks. So it was a great result. We now guaranteed, Alex and I, before the series, we took 6 games, 7 games, and Anaheim, Vegas both to win the series 4-2, 4-3. So we've locked in profit because now this series is guaranteed to go at least 6 games. But a great response from Anaheim. And Rachel, I'll turn it to you with your thoughts on that game. Anaheim's still undefeated off a loss here in the playoffs. Their ability to bounce back, and credit to Joel Quenneville and Beckett Seneca. He has come alive here these last.
That is my boy. That is my boy. Oh my goodness. Okay. It's like, the Ducks are so fun to watch. I mean, this kind of feels like the Western Conference version of Carolina. Like, whoever Colorado or Minnesota plays, what are we doing here? Because Colorado and Minnesota look like they're playing a different sport, but the Ducks are just so much fun to watch that you can't help but root for them. And Beckett Seneca, man, like, this kid, when he's driving play, because he has some play driving capabilities, and I watched him play a ton in Oshawa in his draft year, and then I was like, okay, I really like this kid. Like, I ended up having him, I'm pretty sure, in my top 5. So I wasn't totally surprised that they took him at 3. I was a little like, whoa, that's high. But you're starting to see why. They saw the play driving capability, and he's basically better play driving than a lot of young players when they step in the league. A lot of players, when they step in the league, they can score, they get shots on net. Like, that's cool. And I've seen a lot of like Porter Martone comps, and I think that's a fair comp. There's a big difference between Beckett Seneca and Porter Martone, though, and that's Beckett Seneca can skate. Like, he can really skate. Porter Martone's boots are not fantastic, but I would say Martone is one of the smartest young players, if not the smartest young player in the league, not named Celebrini or Bedard, from a forward perspective. And when Beckett Seneca is actually play driving, it gives Anaheim a completely different look, because now you're having to deal with multiple play drivers on multiple lines. Leo Carlsson very much drives his own line. No issues there. When Beckett Seneca is driving play, that's like, there are only 2 defensemen on the ice at once. And they're very difficult to contain because both of them, and it doesn't matter who's on the ice, and if they're playing together, it's even worse. But if they separated them, then you really have to be picky choosy about what D pair you're matching. And quite frankly, like, I don't trust Rasmus Andersson to be able to shut down either one of those players. So you're leaving it to Shea Theodore and then hoping that you can get like a by committee group to shut down the other guy. And that's a problem. And so when you look at the power play, Seneca very clearly a big driver on that. He got the play going with Anaheim. And I just think when you look at the games that Anaheim wins, who are their best players? It's Leo Carlsson and it's Beckett Seneca. Those are the 2. It's not Troy Terry. It's not this guy. It's not that guy. It's not Jeffrey VL. It's those 2 children who can't even drink in the state that they play in. Like, it's wild.
Yeah, they've been great. Beckett Seneca, I always say, he's got a 50-year-old man's voice and a 19-year-old kid's body. I mean, you'll hear him talk. It's just crazy how, the voice, I mean, it's for a kid that age. But he's a great player. He's and he doesn't mind mixing it up. Doesn't mind going to the tough areas to score goals. And you're right about Vegas. This goes back to the Utah series, too. Rasmus Andersson, Noah Hannafin, those 2 guys stand out. There's been moments where they've been caught. They've been turning it over in the neutral zone. Hannafin did that a couple times in the Utah series. Anderson gets caught there on one of the Anaheim goals last night. So, like I said, there's been some defensive moments of collapse a little bit for Vegas. But they've been here before, We remember the Vegas-Utah series, where that series was 2-2, and they just turned it on in the latter games of the series. And they've done this a lot in their history, where
I think
5,
we could
6,
see that
and
again.
7, they own it for some
Well,
reason.
look at the veteran, look at the difference. And I see chat being like, Leo didn't do shit yesterday. I'm going to heavily disagree with that. yes, you can just say, okay, he didn't have 3 points yesterday. He didn't get shelled. Like, he was still driving, and he's still forcing a heavy matchup, which by extension opens up better matchups for other players. And the thing with this Vegas experience, you've got guys who have won the cup, because Vegas has recently won the cup, right? You've got more veteran leadership. You look at the average age of the Ducks and the average age of the Golden Knights. You look at the average playoff games played on the Ducks and the Golden Knights. Vegas is kind of a different animal when we get into the later series. I actually was joking with somebody, they're the anti-Toronto Maple Leafs, where it's like they are a genuine nightmare to play against in games 5 to 7. And if you don't have a 3-1 lead, you are in trouble. Because that's for whatever reason, they know how to.
I'm going to look up their record, game 5 to 7, historically, since they've been a franchise in a playoff series. I know it's very good off the top of my head.
It's got to be. And I feel like I've been to 4 Vegas playoff home games, and they haven't lost a single one.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like at home, they know how to get it done. And maybe there's a little bit of, like, the Vegas. I don't want to say Vegas flu in the playoffs because, like, my God, focus. But it is Vegas. Like, even if you aren't going out on the town, there are more lights in that city. Like, that city's light pollution on its own could cause climate change. So it's just a different vibe, the noise levels, there's various things. I think there is an advantage to, like, being Vegas and playing at home in the playoffs. And it has nothing to do with, like, the actual atmosphere in the rink. It has everything to do with, like, you're pretty much have to stay on the strip adjacent, and these guys are living in, like, a suburb where there's zero noise at all. So, I mean, good night's sleep versus not good night's sleep. I think we're going to start to see Vegas really put the screws to Anaheim, which sucks because I'd love to see run and gun Colorado, Anaheim in the conference final. I think Colorado would kill them, but it would be so fun.
It would be fun, and I think it's just, a team that's just can do a lot of things better than you can, even though you're an exciting up-and-coming young team. That's probably what the vibes I get with a potential Colorado-Anaheim series, but you're right. Still would be a ton of fun if it were to happen. But we got a long way to go. We've got Anaheim and Vegas now down to a best-of-3. Game 5 will be in Vegas tomorrow night. And, of course, Colorado-Minnesota, which is where we will turn to now. Game 4 of their series, which is now interesting thanks to a Minnesota victory in Game 3 on Saturday night. We've got Colorado minus 140 road favorites, total 6.5 here. Colorado leading the series 2 games to 1. We've got Rachel with us for I'm looking at the clock, about 8 minutes now before she's got to head out. So I'll let her start with this game before I give my thoughts. But I want to say one thing quickly about some injury stuff. Still no Joel Eriksson, still out. Jonas Brodin still out, so no changes there for Minnesota. But they were 1-8 in their last 9 playoff games without Joel Eriksson prior to Game 3. But I guess the positive is, even though they're not back, and Joel Eriksson in particular is not back, at least you finally figured out how to win a playoff game without him. At least you can start there with what happened in Game 3. The problem is, you would think Colorado's going to be 10 times better tonight. They know they weren't good enough in Game 3. So we'll see if and Colorado could be getting Josh Manson back. There's rumblings that he might be able to return. And you talk about someone that plays that physical game, shores it up defensively a little bit for the Avs. They might get him back here in this one. But big news out of Colorado is that Jared Bednar, and this is going to be up for, I guess, individual opinion, making a goalie change. Scott Wedgwood got pulled in Game 3. Mackenzie Blackwood finished the game, and it will be Mackenzie Blackwood getting his first start of this year's Stanley Cup playoffs for the Colorado Avalanche. We'll see if this is the right move if it pays off for Jared Bednar tonight. But Rachel, your thoughts? Game 4, Colorado, Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite clearly the 2 best hockey teams in the West, and I think that there's a very clear, like, 3 best teams left in the playoffs, and one of them is guaranteed to be out after this round, and the other one is the Hurricanes. So I look at this. Colorado was, I would say by their standards, absolutely awful in Game 3. Like, just unacceptably bad, right? And I don't think that happens 2 games in a row. I think that they're going to give Minnesota they might not be like psycho Colorado tonight, but they're not going to be bad Colorado either. And even pretty good Colorado is probably better than 26 teams in the NHL. So I look at this and I go, okay, I actually like the decision to go to Blackwood. And this is why. For teams that go in a goalie tandem, I'm looking at you, Buffalo. I am looking at you, Colorado. They play a goalie tandem throughout the season. If you look at what happens when they go on a run with a singular goaltender, and honestly, this applies to Minnesota as well, a lot of times by about the seventh game, the sixth or seventh game, that goalie starts to feel very fatigued. And yes, Colorado had a bunch of rest in the interim, but you're still having to engage all the time. And these are very difficult games. The save percentage drops dramatically in games 6 and 7. And when you look at Scott Wedgwood, we're not talking about someone who's 25 years old. The guy is like 31 or 32. I think this is a great opportunity because Blackwood got some action. He's not coming in completely bone dry. You look at this and you go, this is an opportunity to spell Wedgwood. And given the entire scheduling break that they have because of that weird ass schedule break, they sit Wedgwood tonight. If they want to go back to him in game 5, he's now only played one game in the span of a week. That's massive rest for a guy of that ilk. And if Blackwood plays well and wins, you can go to Blackwood too and just continue on that route. But at a minimum, you've now made it so that you're playing a guy that you trust and you're giving the other guy that you trust an opportunity to play one game in the span of 6.5-ish days. That's going to be massive. So I look at this, I think money line for the Avalanche tonight, and I've got 4 shot props that I like. McKinnon shot prop is down to 3.5. That feels very low for Nathan McKinnon. And if you find somewhere that isn't 60 plus, or that is like that counts overtime, I would ladder him all the way up to 6 because I think this might go to overtime. That's going to be my best bet is McKinnon 4+ shots. I also like Marty Necas 3+ shots. He's hit that in every single game this series, been consistent through the playoffs. Ryan Hartman, because they're still down Joel Eriksson-Ek and their center depth is bad with Joel Eriksson-Ek. Without him, it's basically Ryan Hartman and what? So I'm going to take Ryan Hartman 3+ shots. He's had 3 in a bunch of games. He's good for the ladder a lot of the time. I think 3+ is where we need to be safe. I like Zuccarello 3+. He's on the top power play unit. He's playing on the top line. There is a general opportunity for him to shoot the puck, and guys are going to be focused on Kaprizov. And then I also like Vladimir Tarasenko. I think you can't ignore the fact that he's the primary shooter on the second power play unit. And that second power play unit does get like a legitimate opportunity. Hines is not afraid to put them out there. And if things aren't going well, he has put Tarasenko on the top unit every so often. So I like that. And that's kind of where I'm going to go with my bets tonight. It's mainly shots on goal. I don't love the block shots prop tonight just because from a Colorado perspective, Josh Manson immediately goes back in and plays a shutdown penalty kill role, and that could screw up some lines elsewhere. So I'm staying away from the block shots tonight.
Yeah, block shots I like more in the elimination games. Personally, I don't bet many block shot props anyway, but personally I get involved more with them in elimination games with the team that's obviously facing elimination because that's obviously the team that's going to go the extra mile. When it comes to a block. I love the Tarasenko props. I mean, I've talked about it. I know Jonathan Davis in the chat. He's undervalued now because of the injury situations with Minnesota. The Tarasenko is definitely, I think, a third it is. 2+ shots and 13 of the last 14 without Joel Eriksson-Ek in the lineup. Like, it's strong. It's a great shots on goal prop. Tarasenko. It's probably his goal, assist, and point prop. Here is worth a look as well. So I'll get into more of my breakdown on the game. Rachel's got to run here in a couple minutes. So just to reiterate before, great job again, as always, Rachel. Now, I have some bad news to break. Rachel's going to be traveling here for a bit the next couple of weeks. We may be without her until the Stanley, or at least later into the conference finals, if not the Stanley Cup final. But she will be back later.
First week of June, I'll be back. June 1st, I'll be back.
There you go. So we will get a Rachel appearance on the show at least once or twice more once we probably get into the Stanley Cup final in June. But anyway, bargain bin special of the night. You already sent it to me, but you can correct me here. But I just want to give the prices. You like Arturi Lehkonen goal prop plus 360. That is definitely bargain bin worthy for Colorado. And of course, the other one we just talked about him, Minnesota, Vlad Tarasenko, and you can get him to score a goal as good as plus 425 tonight. So there you go. with the 2 bargain bins I know that Rachel likes. And just reiterate, Rachel, for us, best bet, it is that McKinnon bet, right?
Yes, best bet tonight, Nathan McKinnon over 3.5 shots. And if you can find a spot that accounts for overtime, I would ladder him probably all the way up to 6. I think this is Nathan McKinnon night.
And off a loss, I find he has that bull in a china shop, mindset.
Oh, psycho. This guy might have 5 shots in the first period.
Yeah.
Not even kidding.
Like, it does feel like that's what we get from him. We get him ripping rubber, ripping puck when he's coming off a loss like Game 3 the other night. So, yeah, shot volume from McKinnon. That would be no surprise to me. Rachel, awesome. Great stuff. It's going to be a few weeks before we see you again on the show, but we wish you well in the meantime, and we'll see you back on here on a Monday, probably in June, once we get close to the Cup final.
Sounds good. Yeah, and if you guys want, I'll be in Betalytics just because I never actually get to take a day off from there, regardless. But I will be in Buffalo for Buffalo Montreal on Thursday, so I'm looking forward to that.
And there will be a Game 5, of course. Will it be the last game of the series, which is now a potential, the way Montreal's kind of taken over? But we hope not. I'd love to see it. And I have that series going 6-7, so I hope we get to at least 6 games there with Buffalo, Montreal. But obviously, big one here tomorrow night with Game 4 and see if we get a response from Buffalo. Rachel, thanks for joining us again. Good luck with your bets tonight. Good luck with Betalytics. Check it out, by the way, Betalytics. And it's a great resource for NHL and all other sports as well. They don't just do NHL, but all the other sports as well. But Rachel, awesome stuff. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Sounds good. Enjoy, guys. Good luck with all your bets.
There we go. Rachel Krychak. Thanks to her for joining us, as she's done on multiple Fridays here on the show. All right, let's get to Minnesota. My thoughts, I should say, on Minnesota and Colorado. I don't hate the decision to start Mackenzie Blackwood as much as I didn't agree with Hines with Gustafsson in Game 2, because this has been a platoon, and Blackwood's been capable. Blackwood's been serviceable. But like I said, definitely a situation where certainly, it's interesting they've made the move now. Wedgwood suffers his first loss of the entire playoffs, and now he's not starting tonight. Just from that end of it, I'm a little bit hesitant to sign off on this, but you give a guy that's 33 years old, it's going to be 34 years old later this year, a little bit of rest, maybe give Minnesota a little something different here with Mackenzie Blackwood, who is capable. I'm not saying he isn't, but I mean, body of work throughout the course of the season and into these playoffs, Scott Wedgwood's been their better goalie this year. And there has been issues at times with consistency with Blackwood, and there's been a couple of games there where there's been some rough nights for Mackenzie Blackwood. So it's a big moment for him. Obviously, Jared Bednar's made the call. It may not be as big a deal as you think, because if Colorado brings their A game, I don't think the goaltending will come into play. They'll find a way to get the job done, and they'll find a way to win, if that is indeed the case, because they're just going to play very good. They're going to get their offense going. They're going to obviously probably try to do things to get Jesper Wallstedt off his game, who is absolutely outstanding in Game 3 for the Minnesota Wild in the victory on Saturday night. And so there's a lot of things. Josh Manson, assuming he plays, and that's not confirmed yet, but assuming he's back in the lineup, certainly that would help the Colorado cause here tonight for sure. And again, they finally did win one without Eriksson Ek, Minnesota, in Game 3. But long term, you're still talking about a team that's 2-8, their last 10 playoff games without him. So you got to prove you can do it again. Playing and winning a playoff game without one of your top players. I don't like this price enough on Colorado minus 140. I don't like it. And I don't know if I love their team total over either. Certainly if they win, they could get over 3.5, and it is plus money. But boy, Jesper Wallstedt's played very well throughout these playoffs, outside of Game 1 of this series when defense was optional that night. You take that game out, Jesper Wallstedt's been pretty solid overall. I will get on board with Colorado first goal, first period. That's the move for me on the Colorado side rather than anything else. It is worth noting, too, when you look at Game 1, Game 2 of this series between these teams, we did see Colorado get on the board first in both of those games in Denver. And off the loss, you would expect a focused start from the Colorado Avalanche here tonight in Game 4, coming off their first loss of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I am going to take Avs first goal, first period. I do like first period over here in this game as well with the Avs and the Wild. First period, both teams to not both teams to score. I'm just going first period over tonight. First period, both teams to score did cash in Game 1 and Game 2. It did not cash in Game 3. But the first period over is indeed a perfect 3-0 so far in this series. So I will take first period over, but only first period over. I mean, I would only look at an over 5.5 or better. I'm not taking it at 6.5. I could actually see this game slowing down, very much like it did in Game 3 the other night, where it was 2-0 Minnesota after the first period, and then the game kind of finally we started to see both teams dig in at the defensive end, and it ended up kind of slowing down. And if not for a very late empty net goal from Matt Boldy with 4 seconds left, that game was going to end 4-1 with 5 goals in it. And it got to 6. You got to push if you had 6 on that total. But if you had 6.5, you still ended up seeing it go under. So keep that in mind. So I'm only on the first period over, and I'm on Colorado first goal, first period pregame. That's it. And everything else that we're going to look at will be live and in-game. And, of course, lots of props. I mean, Rachel was onto it with a lot of the props that make sense tonight. We have shots on goal props that I think there's a bunch of them that make a ton of sense tonight. Matt Zuccarello's gone over 1.5 shots in 5 straight games. Vladimir Tarasenko, we've talked about how he's gone way up as far as shots on goal and shots attempts without Joel Eriksson-Ek in the lineup. 13 of 14 without Eriksson-Ek in the lineup. He's gone over 1.5 shots, and he's gone over 1.5 shots now in 4 straight games overall. That's an excellent shot prop tonight. Rachel mentioned Marty Necas over 2.5 shots on goal. He's gone over that in 4 straight games. Rachel's best bet was Nathan MacKinnon over 3.5 shots on goal. He's gone over that in 4 straight games. And off a loss, he often, ramps up the shot volume even more. Ryan Hartman has gone over 2.5 shots on goal 3 straight games. Nazem Kadri has gone over 2.5 shots on goal in 3 straight games. And his shots on goal over 2.5 is a solid plus price, plus 130, plus 140. So there really are a lot of great shots on goal opportunities here for this game tonight. As far as point props, Matt Zuccarello's on a 7-game point streak. Gabe Landeskog's on a 6-game point streak. And still, Landeskog's point prop, there's been very little, if any, adjustment. You can still get minus 122 at FanDuel for him to get a point. A guy that's now gotten a point in 6 straight games for the Avs. You can bet the point prop, or, as I've often said, you could bet the goal and the assist prop, which is a substitute, and the same thing, really, as betting the point prop. So that's definitely something you can keep in mind. That's a good point that Fireside made. If you want to get involved with the over pregame, I would take a shot with the Matty Rob special and go over 1.5 first period, over 5.5 full game. I would do that because we did get 6 in Game 3, and we have had 6+ in all 3 games. We have seen the defense tighten up later in this series as it's gone on. And again, the first period over is a perfect 3-0 in this series. So I feel pretty confident we're going to get another first period over. I'm not as confident with this game going over 6.5. I'd want that to be trimmed down to 5.5 if possible. So this is a game that could fit the Matty Rob special, over 1.5 first period and over 5.5 same game parlay. It could fit that quite well in my mind. So yeah, Zuccarello and Landeskog, 7-game and 6-game point streaks respectively. Nazem Kadri, 4-game point streak, and it's about even money for him to get a point. Or you could just bet the goal and the assist prop. Ryan Hartman, 3 straight games with a point. Or you could bet the goal and the assist prop. See, with Ryan Hartman, I'm more likely to bet the goal and the assist prop. Bet both instead of the point prop, because Ryan Hartman, I think, has got a great chance to score a goal again. We saw him obviously do that in Game 3. So that's one where I'd consider goal plus assist instead of betting the point prop for Ryan Hartman. So those are players that are definitely feeling it on consecutive game point streaks. McKinnon's scored a goal in 4 straight games. So has Kirill Kaprizov has scored a goal in 2 straight games as well. I liked Quinn Hughes quite a bit in Game 3. I just thought it was a step up back against the wall spot. Don't like it as much tonight because you would think Colorado knows let's try to take away Quinn Hughes' time and space a little bit, considering he got on the board and was a factor in Game 3. But nevertheless, you're still getting, upwards of almost plus 500 for him to find the back of the net. And I do think the Jesper Wallstedt saves prop makes sense tonight. He's actually gone over 28.5 saves in 2 straight games now in this series. So essentially Game 1 and Game 2. He's gone over that saves prop for the Colorado Avalanche. Let me see here the first game of the Jesper Wallstedt had 34 saves in Game 1, that crazy 9-6 game. Isn't that amazing? He gave up 8 goals, but he faced 42 shots in that game, still made 34 saves. He went over that saves prop in Game 1, obviously didn't play in Game 2. Game 3 was back in net, and in Game 3, Wallstedt had 35 saves. So to me, the over 28.5 saves with Vol. And plus, you expect Colorado off the loss to be just firing the puck early and often here tonight. So shot attempts should be there for Colorado. So should the shots on goal count as well. And again, we've gotten a goalie that's clearly easily reached the 30s in saves in the first 2 starts that he's made in this series, Jesper Wallstedt. So over 28.5 saves here for Jesper Wallstedt here tonight. Certainly looks like a really good goalie saves prop here in this one tonight. So those are some of the ones that I'm interested in. I know our guy Cuban Wayne Gretzky in the chat mentioned Brock Nelson for Colorado. He's centering that line with Landeskog and Nichushkin, and there is the Minnesota connection. This is another chance for him to I might dabble in that because I think at some point, like for Brock Nelson here in the playoffs, it's been pretty quiet for him overall. He's just got the 1 goal, which came in Game 3 of the Los Angeles series in the first round. He's only got 2 points in the playoffs so far. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points in the playoffs. Like I said, his only goal was Game 3 of the first round against LA. But, the Minnesota angle is true. We'll see if maybe he finds the back of the net. I got Landeskog still with Nelson and Nichushkin here, Benji. Landeskog, Nelson, and Nichushkin. Lehkonen is on that top line, at least expected to be on the top line again with McKinnon and Natchez. Ross Colton, someone was mentioning Ross Colton in our chat. He did score. He's gotten a point, I should say, in 2 of the 3 games in this series. He still has not scored a goal yet here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But again, he didn't play Game 1 or 2 against LA. He only started. He's played 5 playoff games since Game 3 of that LA series. So keep that in mind. The Matty Rob special, just to confirm, it is over 1.5 first period plus over 5.5 full game. And it's specifically over 5.5 full game. So make sure you're aware of that. It's not over 6.5 full game. It's over 1.5 first period and over 5.5 full game. The Matty Rob special. That I do like that. I think I'm going to dabble in the Matty Rob special here because again, I can get there at 5.5 with the over. I cannot get there at 6.5. That's my thought on that. All right, great stuff. I'm looking forward to that game. It's obviously a very big swing game. We're either 2-2 in that series if Minnesota wins or Colorado goes up 3-1 and they are 1 win away from the Western Conference Final if they win. So that is a big game for tonight in Minnesota. I appreciate all the kind words with the bargain bin specials. I really do. To go 2-0 with the bargain bin special on Saturday and Sunday, back-to-back days, spectacular. Love it. Hope to keep it going. I mean, the pressure's on to keep this 4-0 undefeated run with bargain bin specials that are all cashing at prices of plus 300, over plus 300. The 4 straight. And like I said, all of them over plus 300. So that's huge return on investment with the 4 straight bargain bin specials that have hit. And we'll see if I can add to it here for the one and only game tonight, Colorado and Minnesota. But yeah, it's been great. No question. We'll see if we can keep the And how about Alex? He had, or Alex's mom had Kirby Doc, and Alex easily could have hit his. Philip Deneau. It got taken off the board. So yeah, we've been seeing it well with the bargain bin special of the night, and we'll see if we can deliver another one for you here tonight. I got one for each team tonight in the game. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, we want to remind you, check out wizardsportspicks.com. Again, make sure you check out the website. We've got daily premium picks, long-term subscriptions, NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, MLB, and more. CFL starts next month, one of my specialties. So make sure you get on board. Check it out, wizardsportspicks.com, and of course, patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. So make sure you check that out, obviously. And I forgot. I was waiting until Rachel's appearance on the show ended to mention this, but we do have breaking news regarding Patreon exclusive Ice Guys live betcast dates coming up this week for the Stanley Cup playoffs. We have 2 betcasts coming up this week, and we're going to give you the dates and the times right now.
This is breaking news from the Ice Guys.
We are going to have back-to-back nights of Patreon-exclusive live betcasts this week for our Patreon members only. Again, you must be signed up, $10 per month, patreon.com/iceguys. Our first Patreon-exclusive live betcast will come your way Wednesday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and it will be for Game 5 in Denver, Ball Arena, of this series, the Minnesota Wild and the Colorado Avalanche. So we will take you through Game 5, Minnesota, Colorado, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, Wednesday night, May 13th. That will be the first of our 2 Patreon-exclusive live betcasts. Our second Patreon-exclusive live betcast, we're going to go to the East, and it will be on Thursday night, May 14th, and it will be Game 5 between the Montreal Canadiens and the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo. It's the game Rachel's going to be at Thursday night, and we'll be on for a Patreon-exclusive live betcast for Game 5, Thursday night, Habs Sabres. So there you have it, our 2 Patreon-exclusive live betcasts this week. You must be a Patreon member to tune in and join the betcast live on screen. Again, that'll be Wednesday night, Minnesota, Colorado, Game 5, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, and Montreal Buffalo Game 5 Thursday night, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. There you have it. Back-to-back nights of betcasts, Patreon exclusive, only for our Patreon members. So to be part of those betcasts, get on board. Just $10 per month. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. So get on board for just $10 per month. Patreon.com/iceguys. And of course, check out the Ice Guys store. Get your gear and your merch over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bet coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night here for the one and only game on this Monday night in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Game 4, Colorado and Minnesota. Rachel mentioned she's got 2 bargain bin specials with Arturi Lehkonen to get a goal and Vladimir Tarasenko to get a goal for their respective teams. I actually have one in common with Rachel as far as bargain bin special of the night. But we'll start first with the Colorado Avalanche, a goal prop that I'm going to roll with here tonight. I thought he had some good chances the other night in Game 3. He was buzzing around scoring. He had that crazy streak earlier in the year, but he had a really good chance in Game 3, almost scored for Colorado, was denied by Jesper Wallstad. I'm going to go and say hello to an old friend. Give me Parker Kelly for the Colorado Avalanche. Plus 850, the best price out there at Betway currently. He was very close to putting one in the other night for the Colorado Avalanche, and I'm going to rock with Parker Kelly for Colorado plus 850 for my first of two bargain bin specials for tonight. My second one, we're going to go to the Tarasenko show. Vladimir Tarasenko for the Minnesota Wild plus 425. Best price available. BetMGM, DraftKings. Both of those books have plus 425 out there for Vladimir Tarasenko. Again, without Eric Sinek, he's shooting the puck a ton more, getting more looks, getting more chances, and certainly great value right now with Vladimir Tarasenko, getting power play opportunity. So there you have it. Parker Kelly, Colorado, plus 850, and Vladimir Tarasenko, Minnesota, plus 425 for my bargain bin specials of the night for Game 4 between the Avs and the Wild. All right, best bets. Nathan MacKinnon over 3.5 shots on goal for Rachel. With her a best bet that she gave out earlier, over 3.5. Shop around. That price is getting up there now, minus 165, minus 170, but 3.5 still probably a price worth laying, given what I expect to see from Nathan MacKinnon here tonight. For my best bet, Alex hasn't sent me into anything to me yet. If he does have any plays and best bet and bargain bin special, we'll post it on the Patreon page later for members only. For my best bet, I'm just going to keep this one simple. It's 3-0 in the series. Give me over 1.5, minus 125 first period with the Avs and the Wild. 3-0 in the series so far. I think we get 4 straight games where we have at least 2 goals in the opening period. Colorado, Minnesota, over 1.5. Not to mention this is the first start in a long time for Mackenzie Blackwood. So I think there could be a goal in on him early as well. I think Colorado gets on the board early off the loss. So, yeah, Colorado, Minnesota, over 1.5, minus 125 first period for my best bet. Shout out to everyone in the chat at the like button. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Rachel Krychak, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the game and good luck. And we're back tomorrow on Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern for another edition of the Ice Guys.